Hi, Michael Dr. T Tequiwa here, and I wanted to talk to you guys about something that's been going around the internet right now. I'm not sure if you've seen it, but it is a video of a veterinarian she made late at night, and she's basically challenging the pricing scheme of a local referral center. And she said that one of her clients went there and was given an estimate for the surgical intervention, emergency surgery for a condition called pyometra. So pyometra is when you have a unfixed female, intact female, and over time, usually this occurs when they're in their senior years, they can actually get an infected uterus. So when we spay or neuter a pet today, we typically remove the ovaries and the uterus of a female dog or cat. And one of the reasons why we do that is so that later in life that won't get infected, cause a condition called pyometra, where you need an emergency spay to save that pet. So one of her clients, as is typical, late at night, the pet suffered from pyometra, went to a referral center. And for those of you who don't know, specialty referral centers are those 24-hour giant facilities that house specialists and emergency vets, and they're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So her client went there and was offered an estimate, and this veterinarian found it outstandingly expensive and then offered to do the surgery. I believe the surgery was actually performed at her own practice the next day at a substantially decreased price. So that clearly led to a discussion. It led to emotional responses, heated responses, and frankly, from my perspective, the responses from the people that are in referral centers and those owners of referral centers completely justified, and I'll talk about that in a second. But I wanted to look at the scenario just for you, the listening audience, the viewing audience, to understand all these concepts, and I want to look at it in several ways. Just talk about pyometra itself, talk about the necessity, the synergism that people like myself, I'm a day practice veterinarian, I own a couple practices, and how we rely on specialty 24-hour referral centers, how they rely on us. There's a synergistic approach to that. So they're needed, and we love them, and they love us. And I wanted to talk about, just touch on finances of veterinary medicine, that put some truths out there. There's a lot of misinformation about veterinary finances. And finally, I just wanted to talk mostly to you young veterinarians out there about your relationships with other veterinary hospitals and how bad-mouthing just isn't cool. So let's start with the education process. So pyometra, like I said, is an infection of the uterus, usually occurs in intact females later in life, and we have to spay them to save their life. So it's an infection. So the irony of this whole situation is we look at pyometra as a preventable emergency. Had the client got their pet spayed, then it would never be an issue in the future. And so that's one thing. And I find it so ironic. But personally, in my experience, I did have a client that when 9/11 hit, their cat was scheduled to be spayed at 6 months of age. And anyone who's been through 9/11, who's had lost family members, the whole world changes. And as a result, the cat wasn't spayed. And 9 years later, I ended up doing an emergency pyometra on a cat to save her life, and everything went well. But it's one of those scenarios. But 95+% of the time, your pet is fixed, and it's a non-issue. So from a preventable standpoint and an educational standpoint, it's one of the reasons why we recommend spaying and neutering your pets. So that's one thing, and that was pointed out by a few veterinarians, and they caught it, and I think that's the whole irony of the situation. But like any emergency scenario, emergencies occur late at night. I always say 2 a.m. on Sunday morning, emergencies occur, and day practitioners like myself, we're not open, we're not available, so we need referral centers. So what is a referral center? A referral center is a place. I'm fortunate that in New Jersey, I have 5 really good emergency referral centers nearby that I can refer cases to. So referral center is a giant hospital that houses people who have gone beyond the regular veterinary degree. They've done their internships, they've done their residency, and they've written their boards. And beyond the regular veterinary degree are things like surgery, oncology, ophthalmology, dermatology, neurology, what else? Internal medicine. There's lots of these specialists out there. So they've not only done their veterinary degree like I did, but then took another 10 years to get to that next level. So you've got these highly qualified doctors out there. And lest I forget, emergency and critical care. Clearly, you're going to have that at an emergency center. So you have these highly trained individuals, and in addition, their support team are also highly trained individuals. It's not uncommon to have certified veterinary technicians who may even specialize in their own little fields. And they're all there, housed in this building, open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You do have emergency veterinarians as well. So it's a facility where, as a day practitioner, I can do a lot. One of the reasons why I went into veterinary medicine, I call it the jack of all trades. I am not only your other family doctor for your pet. I am your dentist, your radiologist, your pharmacist, your surgeon. So you get to do a lot of these things, but there's limitation to what you can do. So for example, I can do many surgeries, but I am neither qualified nor trained to properly do a modern cruciate repair surgery. If I need that, I refer to this guy, Dennis Ting. I can also refer to this guy, Steve Mailer. If there's a tumor that needs to be removed that's very difficult internally, these guys are the guys to do it. They're highly trained, they're specialists. Along that tumor line, if the tumor turns out to be cancer, I can diagnose cancer, so I can take a tumor, I can remove a tumor, I can aspirate a tumor, I can get the analysis done at the lab. But once you get that diagnosis of cancer, then just like the human world, you want to talk to an oncologist. So I talk to these people: Jenny Kim, Siobhan Haney, Ira Gordon. Ira Gordon is a radiation oncologist, so think about that specialty there. So lots of ability there. I treat common eye problems. We can treat ulcers, we can remove masses, we can remove an eye, but anything more involved, we need that specialty, we need that ophthalmologist. Even dentistry, many vets do dentistry procedures, but I can't do a root canal. And so in those types of scenarios, I'm going to refer to people like John Lewis, Lisa Fink. So all these individuals that I'm mentioning, and there's many, many more, trust me. Shout out to Justine Lee, shout out to Garrett Packinger, Shelby Reinstein, shout out to Christina Vigantis, Mike Brown, all these people that I know, Peter Chapman, Kim Hammer. These are all people that I've gotten to know that all reside for their work life at these referral centers, and they're able to take the cases that I can reach to a certain point, but it'd be a disservice for me to continue. The best thing for your pet and you is to then refer to a specialist, and they take it to the next level and give your pet that quality care. In addition to highly specialized people, there's highly specialized equipment. It is not uncommon at referral centers to see MRI, CAT scan, linear accelerators for your radiation oncology. Lots of high-end equipment there. So you're dealing with a giant facility with highly qualified individuals, highly equipped with state-of-the-art equipment to perform many major procedures and treat your pet and get them healthy again. So with that, clearly there's going to be a difference in cost. So if I do a spay or pyometra surgery, it's going to be based on what my costs are and what my capabilities are, versus that done at a 24-hour facility with highly trained individuals. There's that. And so I think that's very important to understand. What's equally important to understand is that in New Jersey, it is morally and ethically and legally my responsibility to tell someone that at my particular practice, I have no overnight care. So if there is a compromised pet, a pet that's just not doing right, that needs 24-hour care, then I'm going to recommend that they go to a 24-hour facility. Working synergistically with these facilities is important, because there are extremes to what I can do, and then beyond that, there's what I need done. And the referral centers work with us because we are kind of their clients. We're the ones referring our patients to them. And great referral centers, then you have great communication, you have great relationships, and when the pet is healthy enough, then follow-up usually occurs back at the hospital. But all through the process, there's a communication and there's a synergistic and cooperative response there. It's not uncommon that I will make a call to one of the specialists I know just to ask a question about something. And the great synergy and cooperation there is that many times, it's not uncommon for me to talk to some of the ophthalmologists. They go, you can do it, Mike. And so it's one of those things that I love is that you have that camaraderie and you have that capability. I'm on a text-by-text basis with one of my oncology friends, Jenny Kim. So I do that all the time. In surgery, I'm sending x-rays all the time to my surgery friends like that, Dennis Ting and so forth. So there's a great synergism between a day practice and a referral practice. They each have their capabilities. It's all for the betterment of your pet's medical well-being and customer service, and you'll see that. So veterinary medicine is, I always say, it's on par with human medicine of our ability to do things, our specialties that exist, but clearly at a practice like a day practice like myself, there's definitely going to be a different cost. And is it not fair that someone who's had 10 years additional training, who specializes, or a technician that's gone through that certification program and specializes, is it not fair that they can actually make more money than someone like myself? I think it's completely fair. And is it not fair that if you're open 24 hours and you have a fully staffed hospital that's available to you 24 hours, that there is an extra cost to that? To open a facility 24 hours, you're paying someone to be there 24 hours a day. You're turning the lights on 24 hours a day, and you've got that high quality care. You've got millions of dollars worth of equipment, that there is going to be a cost there. And so I wanted to talk about the finances, and I think there's a misconception about finances in veterinary medicine. So let me tell you a story. So literally last week, I was so sick. I had a fever for 5 days that, contrary to what I do, is I actually took myself to an urgent care facility. And there I walk in, they make me fill out my forms. I got my health card. I go in, I get an exam. The exam consisted of looking at my eyes, my ears, my throat, and listening to my chest. They recommended chest x-rays, diagnosed me with pneumonia, and then sent me on my way with a prescription for steroids, inhaler, and antibiotics. And it's funny because I didn't pay a cent for that. I know that I have health insurance. Ironically, I didn't pay a copay for that, which, I don't know, maybe I'll get billed for that. But I didn't pay a copay, and I know based on previous visits to doctors and so forth that there's an expense to that. I bet you that bill was $1,000 or more. So that's the difference. Is you walk into a vet hospital. So if a pet had pneumonia, walked into the hospital, there'd be an exam fee. We would take x-rays. We would then recommend whatever treatment we do, but there's a cost to that, and so many vets make up an estimate and so forth. So the whole concept of having to pay that up front changes your whole perception about medical care. And I understand that. If you're paying for it, then your perception is, well, I better get what I paid for, and there's that intensity there with that. So I understand that, and I think that what we should discuss about at another date, and I've discussed on my show several times, is insurance and how insurance takes that away because you get paid back for things like that. So I think there's a misconception about how things run. The irony of this is that I can guarantee you any vet worth their weight in gold would have done a full physical exam. That not to knock the doctor that saw me, but I'm sitting there thinking they didn't know what I did for a profession. I'm sitting there, I did not get a full physical exam, and I don't know a single vet who doesn't do a full physical exam. You're going to target the area of interest. We're going to do a full physical exam. And so to put things in perspective as an owner, since I own veterinary hospitals, I can tell you that the misconception too is that we make a lot of money, and that clearly isn't true. The margins for veterinary medicine are in the single digits. But it's something that you need to know as the public, that there's not, I always joke, a buddy of mine owns 2 human hospitals. I own 2 veterinary hospitals. And so we were walking out from his office once, and he got into his Mercedes, and I got into my 2003 Honda Accord. And there's a reason for that. None of us go into it for the money. So you need to understand that we don't make a lot of money. We do it because this is our passion. This is what we love to do. And so finally, for you young veterinarians out there, I think that what we need to talk about is how we deal with other vet hospitals. I know there's some veterinarians out there who, they want to keep their clients, and there's a lot of geography and everything like that, but we are all such a very small community. I say that we are 2 degrees of separation from each other, that I know a vet in another country simply because I know a vet that knows that vet. And so we are very close-knit community. So there is a lot to be said about not saying negative things about other vets. The best example is a second opinion. I look at a second opinion as a blessing. So and I encourage you pet owners to always seek more than one opinion. Any vet worth their salt will be more than happy to share that information and talk to the other vet. I think having two heads on a case is better than one. But if you're doing a second opinion, if you're a veterinarian and a second opinion comes your way, you have to look at that as a blessing because you've had all the knowledge and capabilities of that first vet to look at as a history. And you can see what was done and what wasn't done, and it gives you that edge. Clearly, it makes you look good if the case goes really well, but you have to look at that. And whether you agree with what that veterinarian did or not is something that is what you keep to yourself because you're given that advantage of a client's coming to you for advice and you have all this history to deal with. In the same respect, even if I don't personally get along with another vet, I'm not going to professionally talk down about them. We agree to disagree and we move forward. We take the case as we do. So I understand that some vets charge more than me. I understand that some vets charge less than me. And frankly, that's a little frustrating on both ends. But these are decisions that they're making based on their individual practices. And for me to make a judgment call on that, I can't. I make decisions on how well I pay my team, what sort of investment I make into the business, and how that's going to reflect on our fee schedule. And so to complain about a fee schedule from one place to another it's not worth your weight. Just concentrate on doing the best that you do. But to complain about a fee schedule from a referral center, again, they're doing their best. And if you look at the response by the owner of the referral center, it makes complete sense. They're doing their best. But, I can do something cheaper. I can't do it better. I can't give that 24-hour care. I don't have the highly trained staff to be there 24 hours a day. So you have to understand that in the context of things. And if you're a young veterinarian and you want to make your mark on the world, one thing is to never burn a bridge. Don't ever badmouth. It will come back to haunt you. So, that's my take on things. I hope it was informative. I hope it does open some positive discussion about the events. But I want this to go away because I think it's bad that it's brewing, and I think that the way it is the way it is. So it's a preventable issue that happened. We need referral centers. They need us. They're phenomenal. I love them. They make my life easier. Gone are the days where you're working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can actually have a lifestyle as a modern day vet because of referral centers. You as a client and a pet owner can have better medical care because of these specialty centers with the specialists, with the highly trained specialty staff, with the best equipment. And finally, we are a small community, so try to have each other's back as much. I'll be frank with you. I have worked for some people who are not the best people in the world. But you don't want to move on, do your best, be kind, and always help each other. Thanks for listening.